Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CT Cloud podcast. This is episode 8 of our series. We have a special guest joining us today. This is Jessica Chavez-Smith, who is the Learning and Development Manager at CallTower. Of course, you guys know me. I'm Kade Herbert. I'm the host. And let's go ahead and get things started. First of all, Jessica, hey, how are you doing
Hey,
today?
I'm doing great. I'm
Awesome.
excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We're just getting tired of William. No, just kidding. We love
I don't
William.
blame you.
And we're very happy to have you joining us as well. Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your role as the learning and development manager at Call Tower. What are you up to these days?
Oh, lots of things going on here in my world. So I am doing a lot of Teams calling training
Hmm.
for a lot of our customers. So we have a lot going through implementation. So I've been pretty busy with that. Also, some training for CT Cloud Meeting,
Hmm.
CT Cloud Voice. We're also doing some certification documents and exams for our partners.
Okay.
Lots and lots of things going on, and not to mention also our internal employees. So making sure
Hmm.
that they understand our products and
Yes.
they know what's going on and all of that good stuff. So super busy these days.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it sounds like being a member of Call Tower, I also have taken part in some of those internal trainings. We just had a really cool one about security, and
Yes.
there's lots of new requirements for security these days. Especially, there's some major legislation in Europe that we have to comply with, and so Call Tower is definitely putting forth a lot of effort to, of course, maintain our own security, but make sure that security is going well for our clients who are both domestic and overseas. So that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so team seems to be the big thing that you're training for these days. What sort of things do customers who are just starting with their new team system, what sort of questions do they have about their systems?
Ooh, so for most of the customers, it's pretty new to them. So
Hmm.
Teams is something that is new. And so we pretty much give them an overview of what it is. So a
Okay.
collaborating tool, one-stop shop for everything collaboration. We also spend a lot of time with the calling piece, so setting up their primary audio device, their call settings. Voicemail is always
Hmm.
a big topic.
Yeah, I can imagine, because changing from like a legacy voicemail system where it's existing on someone's system versus being in Teams, that's a huge change for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they want to know how to record a message, how to retrieve their message. So we go through all of that within Teams. And then, of course, the basics of calling. So
Hmm.
internal calls, external calls, merging calls, transferring, anything you could think of
Hmm.
with calling is what we cover with them.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
pretty
it's a big
exciting.
change to go from
Yeah.
a desk phone to essentially like I do now, just entirely living on my headset. I
Yep.
haven't picked up a desk phone in a very long time,
Yeah.
which is a big change, especially for companies that have been doing things a certain way for so long. Changing over to something like Teams that could enable remote work or just working, without a desk phone. Uh,
Yeah.
that's that's a lot for someone to change over to, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some people who are a little bit hesitant about it. So
Hmm.
I always compare it to now you have a mobile flip phone. And
Yeah,
so I kind
exactly.
of
Yeah.
compare it to, a cell phone because they can relate a little bit more to that because pretty much
Hmm.
everybody has a cell phone these days.
Yeah.
And so just like you, a lot of them will start with the desktop phone, and then once they get used to Teams, that desktop phone becomes pretty much a paperweight to them. So
Exactly.
once they get used to it, it's just a tiny little bit of a good learning curve, and they get on it.
Very cool. Well, I imagine that having all these new tools is also kind of a bit much. I mean, some of them probably use things like IM to talk internally and that sort of thing. But having collaboration software and being able to like work concurrently on like Word documents or Excel spreadsheets, that's got to be really helpful for them. If they haven't had something like that before. So I imagine there are quite a few questions about how all that works. So we appreciate
Yeah.
you putting all that work into training them and making sure everyone can actually use the stuff that they're getting from us.
Yeah, it's great. I love training it to people. It's pretty awesome that, I could show them all the tools and how to make things better, how to make their job better. So it's pretty exciting for me. I'm kind of a training nerd, so
Cool.
when I teach somebody something, I get super excited about it.
That's good. Well, you're definitely in the right place.
Yes,
That's for sure.
exactly.
So if a company comes along and they're like, hey, we have a few people who are maybe struggling to pick up Teams or struggling to pick up CT Cloud Voice or Cisco or anything like that, um, can they come and say, hey, CallTower, we need kind of a refresher course or some custom training? Do we offer stuff like that at CallTower?
We absolutely do. And we also get quite a few customers who are exactly that way, especially with their receptionists, their executive assistants. They want to know the ins and outs. They need a little bit more hand holding.
Hmm.
So we definitely do schedule some time with that to go in very much detail of everything within the Teams part. And the calling pieces, so that way they fully understand how to use it. We also have them practice during this time, so
Hmm.
I'll give them permission to my computer and have them walk through the steps. And, at first they're a little hesitant and a little afraid of the change, but once they see it and once they get their hands on it and kind of walk through the process, they're more able to use it.
Right. A little
So
less
it's cool.
spooked.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, I
exactly.
can imagine. I mean, I do webinars for Call Tower as well as the podcast. So we had a transition where we moved from one webinar system to another webinar system. And I tell you, the first few times I was trying that new system, it's terrifying because like you're
Yeah,
like, okay, this is really important stuff. This is how our business operates. And if I can't do this right, it's gonna be not good. And so
yeah.
so coming from someone who's dealt with a kind of a technology transition, I appreciate people like you who come in and help bail us out and help us learn new things and try to kind of get capitalized on some of the new technology that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also record all of those sessions too. So if they want to review it later, they can listen to it later. We have a lot of documentation for them. A lot of people are still pretty old school where they need to have a piece of paper in front of them, which
Yeah.
is totally fine. I'm
Oh yeah.
actually one of those people. And so we have everything that would, teach them how to use the system, which is great.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much, Jess, for joining us and telling us a little bit about your role and telling us kind of what Call Tower does in terms of training. So we appreciate that. And we're gonna say goodbye to you and goodbye to our listeners. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.